for agencies. My name is Stephen Power and I work on the Irish agency team. And this here is James Goodman-Stevens, and he's the export guru for the UKI team.
Hi everyone.
He even looks like a bit of a guru, so that's very, very telling. So we'll keep you for around 10 minutes today. We will go through, we'll try help you find the right market with the right users. We'll help you overcome the language barrier, and also overcoming some logistics when thinking about targeting a new country.
But before we say anything more, I want some key figures that are going to blow your mind. First of all, 2.5 billion. That's the number of human beings on this planet that are using the internet. It's roughly a third of the world's population, and you can reach out to a third of the world's population thanks to the internet and thanks to Google Solutions. It's pretty amazing.
It is an awesome fact.
The other thing that's good to keep in mind is $1 trillion. That is the amount of financial transactions that happened in 2012. So people are on the internet. They're also spending money on the internet. So there's a big opportunity for you to sell your products or services through the internet. And the last figure is 1 in 3. That is 1 in 3 individuals in the European Union would be willing to buy from a foreign company if the service provided is better and or if the price is competitive.
So some fascinating facts out there, James, and it certainly is food for thought. So we'll frame the rest of this Hangout on Air around this massive opportunity. In particular for agencies, we would like to help you grow your clients' accounts, and the aim of this Hangout is essentially to get you consistently thinking about global opportunities for your clients and, of course, yourselves. And we think it's very beneficial for agencies to be thinking on a global scale often. Would you agree?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think it's part of the added value that you can provide for your clients when you're trying to acquire new business or just trying to keep the existing clients that you're working with. I think it adds a lot of value to be able to provide export and expanding the business globally as one of the things you can help them with.
Yeah, and it means bigger accounts, which means happier clients and happier agencies. So I think it's good for everyone involved. So we'll start off. So I mentioned kind of around 4 key areas at the start there. The first of those is finding the right market. So what can we help you with here in order to find the right market to target? James, would you have the answer to that?
Yeah, so there's actually a tool that you can have access to, and you can actually access it. It's free. It's something that anyone can access, even without an AdWords account. You can just log onto the internet and go find it. It's called the Global Market Finder. So if you just go nip into Google and type that in, Global Market Finder, you'll be able to find this tool. And we're going to give you a bit of a demo. I think that would be a good idea to show them how we roll with this tool. Yeah. So maybe choose a real like an example of a company and how we would use the tool for that.
I think we should set up a business together, James. Okay. And given the fact that we both love a bit of jewellery, as you can see, it's draped all over us. We figured that we should set up a jewellery business.
Online jeweler.
Online jeweler. So let's have a crack at that.
Okay, brilliant. So we're just going to transfer you onto another screen. So this is what the Global Market Finder looks like. The first thing you want to look out for is making sure that you set your current location, so the UK or Ireland. So here we've got United Kingdom, and your current language is most probably English. The second thing you're going to want to add is the main keywords. So what you can do when you're doing this is maybe go and have a look at the top 20 keywords for the client you're showing this to. In our case, we're going to just take a couple. So jewellery.
Is that how you spell it?
Jewel, double L-E, Jewel, E, double L-E-R-Y. Yeah. So jewellery, online, online jewelry store, for example. Let me just have a look. Okay. Online jewelry store. Buy necklace online. Buy rings online, things like that.
Shall we enter maybe one more?
You choose whatever you think is relevant.
Buy watches online, perhaps.
Yep, sounds great.
So what we do then is we literally click on Find Opportunity. After having a bit of trouble with spelling at the beginning there.
Just a quick one. Up here, you can actually play around with the different locations you're going to be targeting. So if you think you're going to be, it's more going to be an opportunity within the European Union, then you can do this. The G20 is always a good one to test. Maybe with jewelry, the items are relatively light, so we could probably ship them all around the world.
Yeah.
So maybe let's go for G20, but you can literally target. You just play around with whatever you think is relevant there.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is great. Like what you can see here is this tool gives you an overview of the opportunity. Now the opportunity is a mix between several things. It's basically a mix between the local monthly searches. So that basically gives you the size of the opportunity. How many monthly searches there are for these keywords you've entered. The other aspect that's taken into account is the recommended bids. That's going to be kind of the average bids you'll be looking at. So the opportunity is going to be a mix between having enough volume in that market, and for it to actually be worth the investment, but also the fact that it will be affordable. So what I'd suggest to do here would be to take a piece of pen and paper and just have a look through and note down the ones that you think are relevant. So for us, I think we can just maybe take the top 5. So France, Brazil,
the UK,
United Kingdom, Canada, and Italy. So that's probably a good start. There are things that you could take into account, like the UK, obviously, like or Ireland, or the same language, which takes away the language barrier. But let's just take these ones for the moment.
Cool. So let's move on then to finding out the behavior of potential clients in these chosen markets. So now that we've found the kind of 5 markets that we really want to target with our wonderful new jewelry business, we have a great tool called the Consumer Barometer that you can use to actually figure out the behavior of the clients in these markets. So that's one thing that the Global Market Finder will help you find the countries. The next step then is the Consumer Barometer, so we can show you that as well.
That makes total sense, Stephen. The reason being, like, for example, something that would be a big help in our decision-making process of which countries to target would be online sales. Like, if it's one thing that there's a high volume of searches, but we want to be able to make sure that we're selling our jewelry there as well. So maybe let's test that on the Consumer Barometer.
These 5 countries on the Consumer Barometer.
So just projecting up there that this is what the Consumer Barometer looks like.
So do you want to talk them through? So I'm just after clicking into retail, clothing and accessories, and I'm going to go down here to countries, and I'm going to just find these 5 countries in here. So we'll start off with Brazil anyway. Then we have Europe, so we have France, don't we?
Yeah, France, UK, United Kingdom,
and Italy. So,
yeah,
there's the UK.
It's right at the bottom, United. Yeah. So just a quick overview. Like we're going to put in the industry, and we're going to put in the geographical location that we're looking at.
Yeah.
And then right at the top in topics is where you can decide on one criteria that you want to test for this geographic location and for this sector. So Stephen's just gone and selected online purchases, and this is really interesting because As I said, like we've got France, Brazil, UK, and Italy, which were
and Canada as well in there, yeah.
And it's really interesting to see. So we've got UK, France, with lots of online purchases.
Yeah.
But Italy is much less, Brazil as well, and Canada slightly more, but still significantly less. So maybe in the first instance for our business here, Stephen, we should maybe concentrate on exporting to France.
Absolutely, and it's important to note that without the help of the consumer barometer there, we could very well have gone and tried to just jump into the Italian market, not realizing that it might be more fruitful to initially dip our toes in the water of the UK and the French market, where they clearly love purchasing online in the clothing and accessories space. So I think with our business, we should start off with the UK and France. So
let's get cracking.
Let's get cracking indeed. So the first thing, before we fully get cracking into advertising in these markets, we also need to make sure. So we're an Irish business, so we have an English language website, but we don't have a French language website as of yet. So what can we do? Well, there is this very useful extension called the Translate widget that you can find on Chrome. Essentially, it's a drop-down menu that you can insert onto your website, right? It just appears. You can input it using a little bit of code, and it enables you to translate your site into many different languages. There's 60 plus, we believe, that are available on this Translate widget. So it's a very simple little piece of code, and very straightforward to do, but the potential of it allows you to tap into a potentially millions, like an audience of millions. So it's a very useful widget to have.
Yeah, what we've seen with the examples of clients that we've worked with in the past is that when a client has actually translated his website, the results are much better in terms of conversions. So this is something you should definitely talk to your clients about, and definitely make sure that they actually invest in that side of things.
Yeah. So that's overcoming the language barrier, and we can help you along with that as well. So once we've got our French language website set up now, so we're going to need some AdWords campaigns. So what can Google do to help us here now, James?
The best thing, the easiest thing for you guys to do is to reach out to your Google point of contact. They have access to tools, to teams that can help you actually make these translations, double check these translations. We've got resources where we can help you. So once you've got the site and you've talked to the client and convinced them to get the site translated, we can help you basically with the AdWords side of things.
Absolutely. And just a few final things to note about exporting to a different country, just logistics. So we're going to go through 6 here. So first of all, we have customs, taxes and duties. So obviously various different countries have different rules, particularly if you're looking to export outside Europe, you might come up against various different tax policies. So it's important to look into that before exporting to a different market.
It will be very much the same kind of story for insurance. Especially if you're a retailer, when you're shipping products or even for services, just make sure you're aware of the insurance policies in the countries you're exporting to.
That's this one. We have legal. So obviously there are various different laws across different countries, so it's important to look into that prior to exporting into a different market.
Payment solutions, electronic payments are extremely important. Different countries use different kinds of payment solutions, different kinds of cards, different kinds of transfers. So make sure even other third-party solutions that exist on the internet. So really make sure that you know exactly what payment solutions are preferred in the countries you're exporting to. Another thing you could watch out for is making sure that your site adapts to the currency of the country you're going to be targeting. So for example, if we're targeting France, we want to make sure that the site will potentially automatically turn to Euro, or at least will give the option for Euro.
Absolutely. So shipping and logistics, this is very important for agencies who have clients who are looking to move to different markets. Just have the chat around profit margins and make sure it makes sense, because obviously shipping could cost various different amounts of money depending on what you're shipping and where you're shipping it to.
And lastly, another thing to take into account is customer support. You really want to make sure to underline to your clients that they need to be able to provide the support in the languages of the countries they're exporting to. So, for example, we would need to have either someone within our company or at least a resource that we can use for the French customers and the French emails that we'd potentially be receiving. So yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to sell yourself short in that department either, because obviously the customer speaks. So yeah, that wraps up our Export for Agencies Hangout on Air. We just went through, I suppose, 4 main points: finding the right market for your clients, finding out the online behavior in those markets, overcoming the language barrier for your clients' websites, and also finally just the logistics and setting up AdWords campaigns in those languages if you're targeting different languages. So I hope you found it useful, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to myself or your point of contact within Google. And yeah, I'm looking forward to kicking off this jewelry business now.
Sounds great.
Good stuff. Cheers.
Thanks a lot, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.